Good? What's good? I am back. Yours truly, the one and only Paul Pickett, host of the Paul Pickett podcast. This is episode 136. I'm not gonna get too much today. Basically, gonna go over some NBA stuff. Basically, um, plenty things to talk about NBA wise. But before we do, don't forget the audio version of my podcast goes to Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Deezer, TuneIn, Stitcher, Slacker, iHeartRadio, Player FM, and much more. Also, the video version of my podcast will go to YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Rumble. Definitely follow on Rumble. The video's already monetized from day one, unlike YouTube, which requires 4,000 watch hours and 1,000 subscribers. And also, we'll take the video and stream it live on 3 of the Twitter accounts: Twitter at Paul P Podcast, Twitter at Paul W Pickett, and Twitter at Promo Palace LLC. Um, Before I get started and pull up some scores, let's give you a word from one of our sponsors.
Joke got me addicted, ain't no coke. Let's just have a toast. Anybody want some smoke? Cause it's up. I be dizzled up. Catch me sipping with my double cup. Can't just have one, you gotta double up. You pour it, gotta watch it bubble up. I ain't gonna lie, I cannot get enough. When Callie said I need another one, gonna have you coming back for more. But go get it while it's hot, before it be sold out in your stores. That dizzle.
One of my favorite instrumentals ever, Dipset. Check out dizzlebrand.com, a mixture of agave tequila, cognac, orange liquor, mango mix. Go to dizzlebrand.com. You get the t-shirts, the hoodies, and the sweatshirts, as well as the hats for the Dizzle Brand merchandise. Just go to Dizzle Brand and click on store. Also, if you want to order your very own bottle of Dizzle Brand premium luxury liqueur, please go to our locations on dizzlebrand.com, and the top 3 links will be online order links to dizzlebrand.com. Last night's games. Let me pull them up. Going down scores. Tatum put up 29. Jason Tatum Brown 20. Not become a legit point guard. Of course, we got people cleaning outside right now, so if you hear any noise or interference, that's the guy that's spraying the outside vinyl and windows of my apartment. Basically, they're doing that so they could probably raise the rent on me again. And then we had 14 from Grant Williams. Kevin Durant gave you 39, 23 from Steph Curry, 20 from Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving just definitely didn't do. Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant just underperformed this whole series. Goran Dragic gave you 10, and then Claxton gave you 13. We're going to come back to that in a minute because I want to talk about Kyrie and Kevin interviews and whatnot. Toronto beats Philly. So it's now OG and Gary Jr. and put up 12 points and then 17 from Precious. Coach, I don't even say his last name. I can't even pronounce his last name. Danny Green, 14. Tobias Harris, 16. 20 for Joel Embiid. Tyrese Maxey 12 and 15 from James Harden. Philadelphia 76ers don't definitely not looking good. They don't look like they can win anything. Then you had, of course, Utah got spanked by Dallas, and like I said, man, I mean nothing. I was off the bench 24 for Mike Conley. I mean 4 from Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson is definitely becoming a legit two guard next to Luka. And I don't know that they'll keep Spencer Dinwiddie. He'll probably be traded again on the offseason for another piece. What do they need? I mean, they could use a better small forward. I like Dorian Finney-Smith at power forward and Dwight Powell at center. They could definitely use another small forward. Um, First things, let me get into Brooklyn. Kyrie Irving was all smiley, happy-go-lucky after the loss. He made a reference about we'll put heads together and we'll figure out how to manage this team. Irving was a part-time worker last year. Like, who the hell does he think he is to be a part-time worker and think that you have any say-so to manage this team? As far as I'm concerned, Kyrie Irving is the reason James Harden wanted out. Kyrie Irving is the reason ruined this team. Because, he's selfish. And for the most part, I don't have a problem with him not getting vaccinated. But at the same time, this isn't tennis. This isn't golf. This is a team sport. And when 99.9% of everybody else is vaccinated and you're just the only one not doing it, it's selfish, man. It's just self-centered. Kyrie Irving is one of the worst team players ever. I hate when people defend this kind of bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, same thing with Ben Simmons. They're defending, like, you got Jamie Foxx calling out Stephen A. Smith. I'm sorry, man. If being a coward is a mental health issue, then half of the fucking world has a mental health issue. Half the world is a bunch of cowards with mental health issues. And being a coward is common. It's a common thing. I guarantee half the world are cowards. That's not a mental health issue. That's just a common thing. Ben Simmons is a coward. That's plain and simple. He's a coward. He's not a competitor. He's highly overpaid. If I'm the Brooklyn Nets, I trade his ass on the offseason. I don't want nothing to do with him. And he's going to end up in the same place that Russell Westbrook's going to end up, NBA purgatory. So is Kyrie Irving. I'm going to tell you right now, if Brooklyn tries to get rid of Kyrie Irving, there's not going to be a ton of suitors. And if he goes to the next team and they don't want him but for a year or two, he's going to be in NBA purgatory. I have a feeling Kyrie is going to go into NBA purgatory along with Russell Westbrook because nobody really wants Russell Westbrook. In all due respect, it's not Russell Westbrook's fault. I don't blame Russell Westbrook because, he's played hard and played his heart out everywhere he went, and he's made the playoffs everywhere he went except till you got the Lakers, and you can't put it all on him. Kevin Durant saying we're not going to cry over spilt milk. What about sour milk? What about drinking sour milk? You going to cry over that? Because that's what y'all got going on. Y'all ain't got spilled milk. Y'all got sour milk going on in the building. I don't want to hear nothing about Kevin Durant being the best player in the world. world anymore. Like, if anybody was to say that in my face, I would tell them, you're a dumb son of a bitch. You're a fucking jackass. You're a moron. Excuse my French, bonjour. Excuse my French, but when I just hear people say the most idiotic, moronic things come out their fucking mouths, I have to call them out on that shit. I gotta call them jackasses and morons. Um, People were saying Brooklyn Nets won the trade between Ben Simmons and James Harden. How the fuck is that? Ben Simmons ain't even played a single game this year. He's crying about back issues. How the hell you got a back issue when you ain't played all year? And then he's still supposedly got mental health issues because he's a bitch-ass coward. He's a chump. He's a punk. He's a punk-ass bitch. And you know what? I'll tell Ben Simmons to his face. He's a punk-ass bitch. Being a coward is not a mental health issue. Being afraid to be booed in front of fans is not a mental health issue. All basketball players get booed at some time in their career. You think Michael Jordan ever got booed? Stop it. Think Kobe Bryant ever got... LeBron James gets more boos than any fucking buddy I've ever heard. You don't see him crying and bitching about it. I like what John Morant said. When fans want to just turn their back on them and doubt them, hey, we just don't want y'all as fans no more. But we're not going to cry and bitch about it, So, yeah, Nets did not win the fucking trade. They lost the fucking trade because Ben Simmons, the number one player in that trade besides James Harden, hasn't played a single minute. And if I'm Nets, I don't even want nothing to do with him. It's going to be a disaster next year, too. I don't care what anybody says. Let me talk about Phoenix real quick. Phoenix Suns are in trouble. I mean, they're in trouble. Maybe y'all can go back a couple podcasts, couple episodes, but I said it out of the horse's mouth. Phoenix has the two better scorers on their team. Now, Devin Booker's not healthy. They clearly got the two best scorers on the team, without a doubt. Chris Paul, I don't care how many points Chris Paul puts up. It's not going to be enough because Mikal Bridges can't get his own shot. Jay Crowder ain't getting his own shot. DeAndre, none of these other guys can get their own shot without Chris Paul feeding them. And the problem is Chris Paul has to feed himself a ton too for them to win these games. And he got to feed the players a ton, and he got to feed himself. If the Suns lose this series, I would not be shocked one bit. Not one bit would I be shocked. Not one bit. I mean, when one team clearly has the two best scorers, I mean, clearly by a mile right now. I mean, Phoenix is not the same. It just goes to show you, man, how valuable Devin Booker is right now at this point in his career. How valuable he is. And Devin Booker, man, you could tell when he got hurt, man. He was really down. He wanted to be out there. He wanted to win that. Wanted to win that game that he lost. They lost. Well, he didn't lose it, but they were losing anyways before he went out. But I would not be shocked if the Pelicans win this and the Pelicans get Zion back. If the Pelicans can bring Zion back now, I mean, it's crazy. And the West is open right now, man. Because you know what? I won't be shocked if Minnesota wins the Memphis series. It's tied 2-2, but I wouldn't be shocked. Why is that? Because Minnesota has the more experience when you go off of D'Angelo Russell, Karl Anthony Towns, and Patrick Beverly. Just those three, which are in the starting five, have way more experience than pretty much all the Memphis Grizzlies combined, except for Steven Adams, who isn't playing much in this series. He really isn't playing in this series. So tonight we got Atlanta, Miami. Oh, man. I know Trae Young's going to fight as hard as he can. I'm going to go with Atlanta to win it, to win this game, keep the series alive. Trae Young has got a lot on his shoulders, man. He's got a lot on his shoulders. Why is that? He's a little guy. And how many little guys have carried teams to the championships? Just carried the team to the championship. Allen Iverson and Isaiah Thomas. That's it. That's the only two players. And Allen Iverson got beat one game and got swept 4 straight games after that. He got beat 4-1 in the finals. It's tougher for little guys to carry teams. You know, the fact that the Hawks in the Eastern Conference Finals last year was solely because of Trae Young. You know, and Trae Young, I mean, his usage rate is crazy heavy. He like there's times that like fourth quarter, you get into the fourth quarter and literally Trae Young is literally assisting or scoring on every basket. You know, but yeah, I got mad love Trae Young. I think he'll win one more game because he's a competitor. You got Memphis and Minnesota. It's back in Memphis. I don't know though. Memphis is so inexperienced that nobody expected them to be the number 2 seed. They're definitely not better than the Warriors, who is the number 3 seed. I'm going with Minnesota winning it tonight. And Phoenix and New Orleans. Phoenix and New Orleans. Phoenix and New Orleans. I hate to do it, man. I'm going to New Orleans. I'm going to Pelicans. So I got Atlanta, Minnesota, and the Pelicans tonight. Of course, Boston Celtics has already won their first round. They're sitting there waiting. To play mistaken. There was somebody series when Chris Middleton got hurt. No, this series is over next game as far as I'm concerned. If Chicago wins one more, I won't be shocked, but it's over. Golden State, Denver, that's pretty much over. The West is a little bit more tight, though. I mean, you got 2-2. And this is another thing, a great point that somebody else made. How is Kevin Durant the best player in the world when his team is the only team that didn't win a single game in these playoffs? Every other team, Chicago won a game, Atlanta won a game, Denver won a game. Everybody won a game in these playoffs except Brooklyn. Brooklyn ain't taking nothing this year. I can tell you that much. Let me see. Anything? Bulls, it's just health and safety protocols. That's change it. Like, yo, and this is retarded. Sons Williams fined $15K for criticizing officials. You can't even criticize officials. You get fined for criticizing officials. That is so bogus. That's one of the wackest horseshit of his rules I've ever heard in my entire life. And then let me see it. Pull up the NFL .com. See if there's any first rounders. Sam teams that need them. Definitely the Packers use them. Those are the Packers. I mean, that's crazy. Chiefs. I mean, I can see the Chiefs going after him, replace Tyreek Hill. I can see that. I can see that replace Tyreek Hill. Chiefs going after Debo Samuels. course, I can see the Cowboys going after them because the Cowboys, that's how they are. Got to try to make a splash. But yeah, not no really big NFL talk. Just really, really interested in seeing where Debo Samuels goes. I don't know that I really got any topics to get into, so I'm gonna probably talk about a movie that I watched the other day, Defiance. And before I do, let me give you a word from one of our sponsors.
Marketing and promotion? Then look no further than Promo Palace LLC, your one-stop shop for all music promotion services. Services include Spotify playlist pitching, YouTube video promotion, record pool promotion, blog placements, radio airplay promotion, SoundCloud promotion, and much more. With over 2,000 customers and over 10 years of experience in online promotion, Promo Palace LLC is a company you can trust. For more info, please go to promopalace.biz. See you there.
Check us out, promopalace.biz. Need online market promotions, SEO, press releases, blog placements, TikTok influencers, Instagram influencers, playlist pitching, and much, much more. Get marketing promotions at promopalace.biz. I watched a movie the other day, a soul movie. I do recommend anybody that hasn't seen it to go watch it. Defiance with Daniel Craig and hold on, let me pull up. I want to get this other guy's name right. He played off of Manchurian Candidate. Defiance cast. Leave Schreiber. I want to hold on. Is Liev Schreiber? Is that? Is that Pablo's brother? I did not know that. Wow. His brothers. I did not know that was his brother. I really didn't. I don't think they look nothing alike, to be honest with you. And then you got Jamie Bell in it. Well, it's a movie about the World War II times during the Holocaust, and it's basically the Germans. It's a movie about Germans hunting Jews that were these Jews that were hiding out into the woods and stuff. And it's a true story. It's about Tuvia Belsky and Zush Belsky and Azael or Azael. I don't remember how to pronounce his name. I had to watch the movie. But the Belskys is what their name. They basically hid in the woods from the Germans during World War II, from the Nazis. They had to do what they can to survive, still here and there. They were basically hunted like crazy. When I think of this movie, man, a lot of things come to mind, man. Courageous, noble, sad. One thing I will say is I know there's a lot of people that like try to compare slavery to the Holocaust. In my opinion, the Holocaust was worse. When we're talking about the mass extermination, we're talking about exterminating a whole race of people. That's really worse to me. That it really is. See, slavery has been around since mankind has been at a certain population point. But mass exterminating race of people, that's not something that just occurred over and over and over in history again. You know, back in the days, there wasn't really. That's the thing. There was a time when there really was no racism because people didn't look at things based on the lens of race. You know, there was a time when war was when people was like people at one time people were only enslaved on for war, because they were criminals or they owed debt or because of religion. It wasn't until a Spanish pope decided to include race into the mix, you know. So what the Germans did was total racism. It was a total racist event. Um, I just think trying to mass exterminate a whole race of people is worse than enslaving them. And both are terrible, both are bad, both leave a stain, on history. But I see why the Jewish people, why they feel like they're the most persecuted people in today's modern history, because they are, man. I mean, they literally are. And another thing I have an issue with is in the movie Defiance, they had to go into what they called the ghetto. They went into the ghetto to try to bring out more Jews because the Germans said if, you know, any one of the Jews escape, come up missing, they'll just start killing everybody. Well, they were just killing them by the day, anyways. It didn't matter if they escaped or not. You know, they were trying to mass exterminate them off, anyways. I don't believe that they would just enslave them for slave labor or nothing like. I really believe that Hitler's um, ideology was to kill them, and Hitler has to be the biggest hypocrite ever. I mean, this guy literally had this ideology of this superior master race, which consisted of blonde hair and blue eyes, which he had neither of. Yeah, I got blue eyes, but I would only fit half the bill. Half the bill wasn't covering it, so I wouldn't have made the cuts either, you know. So that was just, I never understood that. Like, how the hell can a guy who has no blonde hair, no blue eyes be sitting there talking about a master race with blonde hair, blue eyes, and like he's trying to include himself into the mix when he didn't even meet the characteristics, for what you said your master race was. And there's no master race in the world. There's only one race. That's the human race. This idea that, we're all different races. We're not the same race because of our skin color. No, we're the human race. We have different culture differences. And that's pretty much it. That's the differences in the human race is cultures. And what comes along with cultures, the way you speak, the way you dress, the way the foods you eat. Every culture has, I mean, look at Hispanics. They're into, I mean, they eat freaking pepper and eggs for like breakfast. They're into spicy stuff all the time. Peppers, spicy Spanish. They eat a lot of Spanish rice, tacos, burritos. Look at Asians. They eat regular plain rice or, or fried rice, and they're into teriyaki chicken and orange chicken. They got recipes that nobody else has heard of. Italians, they got one of the best cuisines ever. I mean, I can't think of one thing I don't really like from Italians. I like lasagna, spaghetti, fettuccine, ziti, pizza, strombolis. I mean, the list goes on, man, with Italian food. I'm not big on German food. I'm Irish I got a lot of Irish ancestry in me, but I'm not really big on cabbage and potatoes. I could eat it, but it's not like, Irish had to eat cabbage, corned beef, cabbage, and potatoes for like 400 years. All they had was a potato for 400 years. I mean, so that would have been a miserable, miserable life to have. To have to eat potatoes every single day. Probably cabbage and potatoes every single day. Maybe some corned beef here and there. But the Irish, they had their 400 years of famine, and it was potatoes. You know. But back to Defiance, man. It's a real sad movie. It's courageous, heroic. I know after the war was over, Zhush Belsky ended up moving to New York City, starting a small little trucking company, and his brother Tuvia followed along with him. Um, their other brother, not the youngest, but Agel Belsky, ended up going into the Russian army a little while after the war and died before his kid was born. It's a really sad thing. I mean, it's a really sad story. It lets you know how evil mankind can be. There's a lot of evil. I mean, up to that point, Germany never had an evil dictator like that. Germany was known for Germanic tribes and fighting against the Romans for their freedom. And that's the thing. When a country is used to fighting for freedoms their whole history, and then some dictator comes along, it's not, we can see that it doesn't go well for the dictatorship in the country. Like what's going on in Russia and Ukraine, I feel like Putin is going to put his country through the same thing that Germany had to deal with after the war. Like I'm pretty sure America's licking their chops right now that Putin and Russia overplay their hand. And I remember people always said we should worry about Russia. Russia's communist. They got nukes. They could, we should be worried about them. They're, one of the superpowers, and they're dangerous. Well, once I realized where they were at on the economic scale, that's when I realized they weren't really as powerful as people claim. Like India has more money than Russia. India ain't looking to fight nobody, man. India's most, and that's the thing. If I had to choose one country to come up and pass America economically, it would be India. It would be India. They're such a peaceful country. Way more peaceful than most countries. Yeah, they got poverty, but they got a lot of people too in India. You know, but yeah, the Hindus are very peaceful people, man. Mankind is evil. It's one of the most tragedies in history, period, man. I mean, the mass extermination of Jews, the Holocaust, World War II. I mean, it was just really, it was fucked up, man. It was fucked up, and I am sensitive to what happened to the Jews. You know, I am sensitive. I'm very sensitive to that. Because I mean, they literally tried to exterminate all of them, man, and I couldn't imagine like wiping out a whole race of people, man. For what? I mean, that's got to be pure evil. It's just like when you see that people kill a king and then they try to kill the son, the kids, the wife, and everything to wipe out their bloodline. I mean, it's just pure evil, you know. Just trying to wipe out a whole bloodline and kill and exterminate a whole race of people, man. So I recommend go watch Defiance if you haven't seen it. It's a real good movie. Very courageous, very noble, very sad. Definitely should give you a perspective on what World War II was like and what the Jews had to endure, what they had to try to survive through and escape. So yeah, man. Definitely. And more, you might see me just plugging in like movies and stuff like that. Because I mean, Defiance is it's a good. It's not even just about the movie. It's just about you know, it's a true story. It's part of history. It's a very fucked up part of history, and we definitely can't let these parts of history ever be blurred in history because you know we can't allow things like this to happen. And I always ask myself, where would the world be if Hitler would have won? If the Germans would have won World War II, I would hate to see where the world would be right now. You know, he was definitely somebody he had to be stopped. He had to be stopped. I mean, Hitler's got to be considered one of the most evil people in all of history. I mean, I understand Genghis Khan conquered a lot of land. They say one out of every 200 people um, has, Genghis Khan DNA in them. But I don't never really call him just trying to exterminate a whole race of people. I think he was still a person who you could negotiate with during war times. Um, there was no negotiating with Hitler. There was no negotiating with Hitler. And when you can't negotiate with somebody, um, then there's nothing to talk about. It's just war, man. It's just kill or be killed. I mean, even Putin is willing to negotiate to some point, even though I see what Putin says what he's doing is noble, and they got that false narrative where he's trying to act like Ukraine people are Nazis and this, that, and the third, because like even though Russia's a communist country, them and Germany never saw eye to eye during World War II. Germany and Russia were going at each other. I mean, like literally, like we had no choice but to pick the lesser of the evils when it come to Russia and Germany. Because at that time, Russia and Germany was the lesser. Russia was the lesser of the evils when it came to Russia and Germany. Sometimes, I mean, the saying, the enemy of your enemy is not really your friend, but the enemy of your enemy can be an ally. Remember that. The enemy of your enemy can be ally. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, when the Russians were trying to invade Afghanistan, we were helping Afghanistan. I could be wrong on that, but I could have sworn we were helping Afghanistan and siding with Afghanistan, which makes sense because, at that time, Afghanistan wasn't even considered an evil. I don't even still consider Arabic countries an evil because if there's all these terrorists that want to blow us up and bomb us, where the hell are they at? What are they blowing up and bombing right now? Much of nothing, Those people were just doing it out of revenge. An eye for an eye, man. That's really what it came down to. An eye for an eye. We got to stop acting like we go and kill innocent people and they don't have the right to retaliate and get revenge. An eye for an eye, man. They do, man. Because I mean, you're never right when you kill. You can never justify to me killing innocent people. You could throw that greater good bullshit out all you want. There's no greater good when you're talking about killing innocent people, man, innocent folks. Where we at? 40 minutes into this. Play another commercial, and we're gonna call this an episode. Of course, We got to get a shout out from yours truly, the one and only Paul Pickett. And here we go. This your boy, the one and only Paul Pickett, host of the Paul Pickett Podcast, aka Triple P, aka the Common Sense Podcast, your source for music, sports, politics, world events, and more. Please check me out 3 to 4 days a week on my video podcast on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Rumble. And check out the audio version on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Deezer, TuneIn, Stitcher, Slacker, iHeartRadio, Player FM, and much. Commercial didn't finish. Apparently, my stream was lagging. Once again, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. This is episode 136 of Paul Pickett Podcast. Don't forget, follow us on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Deezer, TuneIn, Stitcher, Slacker, iHeartRadio, Player FM, and much more. Peace. I'm out.